Hi everyone, welcome back to another Enviro story. Today we have a very important and beautifully written story called The Catastrophe, and it's written by Lilly at Gresford Public School. She's written and illustrated it by herself, and it tells a very important story about the river and why it's important to keep it healthy. I ran down the hill to try to get the cows back into their paddock. I had to stop them from getting into the Allen River. As I rushed down, I tripped on a rock and fell over. My dog Waffles helped me up, but it was too late. Half of the cows were already in the river, walking and slushing around. I looked down at Waffles and sighed, "Oh no, not again." You see the cows? Oh. Hi, my name is Lilly. I'm an only child, although I do have my dog Waffles and my parents. Waffles and I raced back to the house to find Mum and Dad. It was late Friday afternoon in spring, which meant they were probably cooking dinner. I found Mum and Dad just in time and told them what had happened. She looks worried. "Hey Dad, the cows got out again. You need to fix the fence." Dad said that he would have to fix the fence tomorrow because those cows would cause too much trouble at the river. But I knew he was lying because of the look on his face. I knew our fences were in such bad condition that Dad had almost given up on them. After brushing my teeth, I said goodnight to my parents and stomped up the stairs to my bed. I tossed and turned in my bed. I tried so hard to get myself to sleep, but nothing was working. I tried singing to myself, drinking milk, counting sheep, and anything else I could think of. But all I could think about was the escaped cows. What damage could they do to the river? Have any of the cows been hurt? Eventually, I was so tired that I drifted off to sleep. Exhausted. A few weeks later, on a particularly hot summer weekend, Waffles and I headed down to play at the river. "I wish we had someone else to play with," I said to Waffles. "Then it would be even more fun in the water." We ran to the river, ready to have the time of our lives. We jumped in and started splashing around when suddenly Waffles started whining and sprinted out of the water. Something's up. My skin started to feel like it was burning, so I followed Waffles' lead and scrambled out onto the bank. We both ran as we struggled back up to the house, screaming. I rushed inside to tell Mum what had happened. My mother is a water scientist, and she thought she knew what the problem was. It turns out that because the cows were in the river, they had contaminated the water, and combined with the hot weather, an algal bloom had occurred. This algae had drastically changed the pH level, increasing it to a point that it irritated Waffles and my skin. The following day, Waffles and I felt weird. Our skin was still burning and itchy, which was really painful. Mum said that we would have to rest for a few days for it to clear up. She also told us that we were not to go in the river again. Oh, she wants to be swimming in the river. A few days later, Waffles and I felt much better. It was another sunny day, so I went for a ride on our motorbike. Waffles was running beside me, watching my every move. After lunch, I decided to head down to the river to see if it looked any better. It looked 10 times worse than before. More blue-green algae had formed, and the river was filled with dead fish floating silently on the water's surface. Oh no. Waffles and I were disgusted at what we saw. At that moment, I realised that pollution is a really big problem for waterways. "Yuck! People in Gresford have to drink this," I yelled in horror. We ran to tell Mum and Dad. Oh, Lily's got a tear coming from her eye. That beautiful river. As I was running along the bank, I suddenly slipped and fell into the horrifying river. Waffles jumped back and tried to help, but he was no use. I was quickly pulled into the Allen River. Being in the river was full of dead fish, and not being able to touch the bottom was scarier and harder than I would have thought. Oh, there she is in the river. Waffles disappeared off up the hill to get help. This was the longest 2 minutes of my life, as I was finding it impossible to stay on top of the water with a bunch of dead fish. I could faintly hear my mum and dad's voices, with Waffles barking in the background. Just as I thought I was slowly dying, I felt someone grab me and pick me up. I started to open my eyes to see my dad holding me and carrying me home. Later on, we had a family discussion about the state of the Allen River. We decided that we would do whatever it takes to make our river healthy again. That night, we did some research on how to stop the pH of river water from getting too high or too low. There she is at the computer. Wow. We learned a lot about ways to prevent algal blooms, how to manage pH, and other things we could do to keep our river healthy. Some of the things we found out were: don't let your cows in or near the river because they can stir up the water, damage vegetation on the banks, and increase nitrogen and bacteria in the waterway, leading to algae outbreaks and changes in pH. Prevent fertilizer from being washed into the river, as it can also increase nitrogen levels. Don't let detergents from washing cars, yards, machinery, or clothes flow into the river, and use environmentally friendly biodegradable detergents whenever possible. Fence off any waterways and their banks to protect them from damage. Plant local native plants to revegetate the banks of the waterway. Well, it is 1 year later, and I'm really proud to tell you that our Allen River is really clean and fantastic to swim and play in again. We fixed the fence so the cows can't get down to the river anymore, scooped up all the algae and dead fish, planted native plants along the banks, and only use environmentally friendly biodegradable fertilizers and detergents. Wow, that's great progress. I can sleep well at night now, knowing that my family and I are happy with the improvements on our farm. We do what we can to make sure the river stays healthy, as we understand that water is one of the most important natural resources we have. We also work with our community to encourage everyone to do the same. What a beautiful final drawing of the beautiful land they live on. And that was The Catastrophe by Lilly at Gresford Public School. What an inspiring story. Thanks so much for writing it, and thanks for listening. Bye guys.